So, hello and welcome back to my channel, Akasha Love. Today, we are going to talk about what is the difference between love, so a loving relationship, and a domination-ship. So, this, I think, it seems to me that it's so blatantly obvious that it doesn't require any explanation, right? It's so simple. But in my experience, it's not so simple for many people because they are blinded by their own limited level of personal growth and development and self-inquiry. So if they haven't actually done much of this in their lifetime, then they cannot really see how they come across in relationship. They're not really able to have any kind of external perspective on themselves, right? So as a result, I felt like this is a really good topic to come and speak about today, just to get some clarity on the difference between a healthy connection, a relationship, a loving connection, relationship, and an unhealthy one, which I like to term a domination-ship. So if you're new here, I am Akasha Shell, and this is a channel where we speak about these kinds of topics: love, relationship, what these things mean, healthy self-love, personal development, personal growth, and let's call it inner alchemy and inner integration. So integrating and alchemizing all of the parts of our life experience, what we've learned, so that we can sort of compost all of that stuff in order to grow from the compost of our life experience and hopefully become a bit more of a healthy, awakened person, right? That's the goal of the channel. So, what is love? A loving relationship not? First thing, it's not. It's not a zero-sum game, right? There are no winners and losers. As soon as we have a winner and a loser, we've lost the relationship. Like, as soon as one person has to be right, make the other person wrong, and especially if that happens over a long period of time, where one person has to always be right, it's not a loving relationship. It's become a domination-ship. So the person that needs to be right has to feel that rightness in order for them to feel safe in that connection, and therefore they have to make the other person wrong, or basically submit to their ego, to their will. So one person dominates and the other person submits, because the person who submits recognizes that if they assert themselves and challenge the domineering person, then most likely the outcome will be eventually the loss of that relationship, because the person who always needs to be right is not able to handle having an equal relationship with the other person. So the other thing that determines whether a relationship is healthy and a loving one, or a unhealthy one is if the person that you love tells you that you've done something hurtful to them, and that some action or words of yours have impacted them in a really detrimental way, you have to be interested and you have to care. So this is also really fundamental, and it just seems so obvious to me that part of me feels like a bit crazy that I'm sitting here saying this. But based on my personal experience, it's not so obvious to everybody. So yeah, you have to, if you really do love that person, and they come to you and they tell you that something you've done or said has really hurt them, you have to care. You have to care, and you have to be curious, and you have to be interested in the impact of your actions or words on that person. And you have to be interested to the point that you're willing to admit their version of reality. So you're willing to allow your relational partner their reality, right? So their reality, as in they've been hurt by something that you've said or done, you have to have the capacity within you to see that that's the truth, right? So that's where the zero-sum game, the winners and losers, it has to stop. Because if you are still in this mode of winning and losing, then you need to, when somebody comes to you and says that you've done something really hurtful to them, and you're in this mind of the zero-sum game, the winners and the losers, your energy and your mind is going to go into proving that you're right and they are wrong, right? So proving that your reality, which is that you didn't do anything hurtful, that everything's fine, is the correct one. And their reality, which they've come to tell you that you've done something hurtful to them, is the incorrect version of reality. So if you engage in that kind of behavior, you're in a domination-ship. You're not in a relationship with that person. And that's a very unhealthy situation, at least for the person who's being dominated. But I would say it's unhealthy for everybody, because it's just it's a destructive way to attempt to carry out a relationship, right? So another thing that you need to be willing to do in order to have a relationship, a loving relationship with another person, is that you need to be willing to look at yourself. You need to be willing to receive the feedback from the other person, and you need to have the ability, so the inner ability and the strength, the sense of self-worth. You need to have a baseline of self-worth available to you, which allows you to look at yourself, which allows you to take that reflection from the other person and accept that there might be some truth in that, so that you're willing to look at yourself in the light that you could be engaging in hurtful actions or speech, right? You need to have that level of humility. Yeah, you need to have the level of humility to accept that some things that you could do could be really detrimental to the other person or to your relationship. If you don't have that level of humility as well, I think it is almost impossible to carry on a loving relationship with somebody. So after that humility is established, that you are able to accept the feedback of another person, You are able to see, oh, yeah, it's actually true. I have had a really negative, hurtful impact on this person who I do claim to love. When you have that level of humility and you can accept it, then you are able to move on to the next step. But I think you can't really move on to this next step until you really deeply feel, empathize with that person, and you really deeply feel into that hurt and that pain of the other person, which is a challenging thing to do. And you accept that it's true. Yeah, you accept at a really deep level, okay, yeah, that's really true. That really impacted them in that way. They've been really hurt by something that I've done or said. That's the truth. And when you really feel that, then you can feel empathy for that person. You can feel sorry that they've been hurt by you in that way. And then when you do feel that empathy arising and you do feel true sorrow that you've been the cause of somebody's pain, then you can say sorry to them, right? When you're able to say sorry and really mean it, that's the first step to repair, to repairing a situation in the relationship. But the next step obviously has to be, again, these things all seem to be so obvious, but I understand that given how difficult human relationships can be, they are not. So after sorry, then we need to actually take action to repair the damage. So we need to ask that person, okay, I accept your version of reality. I accept that I've really hurt you. I am sorry, and I'm wondering what I can do to make this up to you, what I can do to heal the damage that I've caused in this relationship. So this is the next step after sorry. If the sorry just stops at the sorry and there isn't a repair, there isn't a dedicated intention to repair with some clear action steps that obviously would be worked out between those two people, then probably this interaction will very likely just repeat, right? It will come up again. It will repeat. And the hurt will repeat, the cycle will repeat. So in order for that not to happen, you do really need to take that next step of repair. What can we do both together to repair the situation? And particularly, obviously, the person who has been hurt is the one that should be making the suggestions to the person that hurt them of what they think could happen in order for repair to happen. So then our last thing I think for this video today is empathy. You have to have the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes. So you have to have the ability to imagine, okay, what if I am this person? What if instead of the person I am, I choose to imagine that I am this person that I'm relating with. I am this person's age. I am in the relational role that they are currently occupying. I have the amount of money that they have. I have the current level of life success, financial success, or whatever, how you want to see that in the world. I am occupying that person's life. So that's a really big jump. That's hard for a lot of people. But if you can really make that jump, try your best to put yourself inside the skin of that person, and then look back at you and how you're behaving towards them. This is a way that it might help you a lot to empathize and to understand that person's perspective on your behavior. So empathy is absolutely necessary, right, for any kind of sustainable, ongoing, loving relationship. All right, so those are my main points. The difference between a domination-ship and a loving relationship is, number one, it's not a zero-sum game. There are no winners and there are no losers. Everybody has to be held in equal esteem. Everybody in that relationship, those two people have to have an equal amount of value and power. They both have to accept that the other person is a real person. Their feelings are real, their experiences are real, and their value in that connection is the same, right? So no winners, no losers. Everybody has to be the winner. Everybody has to care enough about each other in order for their relationship to support both of those people. Nobody should ever be squashed. All right, so I'm just going to finish with a little excerpt from the Desiderata. So my mother, when I was young, gave me this Desiderata. It's a kind of a spiritual text written by Max Ehrmann, a German, to kind of guide you through life. So I had this next to my bed for a long time. This is just a part of it. Desiderata. Speak your truth quietly and clearly and listen to others. Even the dull and ignorant have their story. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars, and you have a right to be here. So I'll just show you my universe painting. This is exactly what this painting is all about. You are a child of the universe, no less than the moon and the stars, and you have a right to be here. So thank you so much for watching, listening. If you have any comments on this subject of the difference between a domination-ship and a loving relationship, please put them in the comments. I would love to hear from you. And if you would like to hear more, watch more videos about these kinds of themes, love, relationship, healthy connection, unhealthy connection, and how we can heal our relationships, make them better, make our lives better, then subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.